So this is AC Starlord, aka Awesome. Welcome back to my channel, and this video is about Jaws. I'm going to see Jaws 50th anniversary tomorrow with two friends of mine from high school, and it's a re-release of Jaws for its anniversary. So the other anniversaries I saw so far, well, the some of the releases and one's an anniversary, but the one other anniversary I saw twice is Ninja Turtles. You can also catch that video on here and also catch a update on when they're going to do the second movie for the 35th anniversary. The 35th anniversary of Ninja Turtles came and passed. It was in theaters at AMC for the 27th, lasted to the 28th, so it came and passed. This time it's time for Jaws to shine its uh um pointy blue, white, sharp teeth, nose, and body back into our lives again, as I said to this, or its tail fin. And here is the thing that is so amazing about this. Jaws is a movie that everyone loves and adores. And as I said, everyone loves and adores, right? This movie was made in 1975, so this is a movie in the 70s, and people still watch it to today. People still watch it today. Some people will still watch it from yesteryear. Some people still watch it because it's a memory they had with their mom, their dad, their brother, their sister, their cousin, their auntie, whoever, uncle, whoever showed it to them as they were growing up. And in 1975, this movie was pretty big at the time for Steven Spielberg. Um, you have a cast load of people like Richard Richard Dry Jefferson as Matt Hopper, Ray Chandler as Martin Body, Robert Shaw, um, and list goes on and on with old actors that we don't see anymore and cherish through our time and time on this earth watching this classic movie. Now, I might have butchered some of these people's names, but that's the cast. Um, this movie was about a shark, about pretty much about a young woman that got killed by a white, skinny, by a shark that's white, skinny, drop, and they're the English dropped near the English tourist town of Antilles Island, and the police chief Martin Bailey Roy Chandler wants to get rid of Alvin's Beach and stuff like that. So this movie has been around for a long time, and this is my first time probably talking about it. But I will do a full-on review. I haven't done a review on this. This movie is a classic. This movie in the back then in the 70s or 75 probably made some people afraid to go back into beach waters. I was talking to my mom and dad. They saw this. This movie was not frightening, but it was more of a suspense movie. And my mom even quoted it made her even afraid to go in the water. Or it made other people afraid to go in the water after seeing this movie. I mean, it's kind of scary, but I mean, it's not scary, but it's kind of scary to think of that thought when this movie came out. And there's, my mom is from California, and other people from California, and then also other people in the world. They enjoyed in the summertime, because I'm pretty sure this movie came out. This movie came out in the summer. I'm not sure, but as it is summer right now, I'm pretty sure people in the summer like to go in the water, like to go on the beach, like to go in the pool, like to go anywhere that has water. And this movie right here probably frighten them a little bit because a big giant shark might come and get me. That's the fun about this. This is the fun about this movie in particular. This movie made it difficult and different for people to even experience that experience. But also, on the other hand, it's a movie. You have to also take that context out of that idea of water. I mean, it's water. The shark's not going to come near me in this close of this shallow water or this close. I don't think that this is going to happen for me. Now, oftenly we hear about shark attacks and stuff like that, but not like the way we see it in this movie. But this movie has been shown to so many different generations of people, and also because it went from the 70s was 70, I mean, so 70s, but basically 1975 to 1980s, to 1980s to the 90s to early 2000s to now where we are right now, where it's celebrating its 50th, and then well, to now where we're celebrating its 50th anniversary in cinemas, not just in Cinemark, AMC, but I'm seeing Cinemark, but my theater is usually AMC. But when I team up with my good friend from high school, he goes to Cinemark, and I don't mind that. I like Cinemark too. Cinemark has side right has the best one of the best things. They have the best popcorn. I have to say, AMC's need to work a little bit on their popcorn. I'm sorry, you guys need to work on your popcorn, but your popcorn tins are fantastic. But hopefully, I can get the Jaws popcorn tin that is porting up. If not at Cinemark, I might see. Um, Toxic Avenger somewhere this weekend, and I might get the Jaws popcorn tin there at AMC. But it doesn't really matter where I get it. I can even get a tin one that looks like a beach theme with the Jaws logo on it. All I want is something that, if it's not Jaws itself as a popcorn tin, it can be a steel popcorn tin that is has its iconic logo. Jaws 1 is my favorite. Now, there's been Jaws 2, 3, 3D. I watched reviews online about Jaws 3D, and it's well, let's just say his name is Chris Stuckman. He did a what he called a hair loss. He did a review making fun of it. Can't say that word to what he calls it, but when he did a video making fun of it, and then he did Jaws 2, which he also didn't make fun of it, but he also thought was great. And then made fun of Revenge of Jaws out of that. But this movie had so many different movies also spawning after the first movie. But the first Jaws is iconic. It's an iconic piece of cinema history, just in cinema itself. Um, I was just texting another friend of mine, and she was asking, is that a movie? Like, she's not well reversed in movie culture like I am, but she knows of movies, but not of this movie. Now, I kind of was on the other side of the phone, like, not freaking out or anything, but it's like mind blown. Like, we haven't seen Jaws, but not everyone sees movies. So that's the thing. Everyone I talk to doesn't always have uh, the kink of seeing movies all the time, or doesn't even they don't are not just big movie fans. And some of them are not also not comic book fans. They're not like, oh, Predator versus Predator kills the Marvel Universe. Oh my God, that's something big, right? Or for example, I know this is a Jaws video, but I'm just going in for example here. Oh, Spider-Man and Punisher. Oh my God, like that's an iconic. This is a reprint, but oh my God, that's an iconic thing. It's just not everyone I talk to is a big giant fan of movies and comics like I am. But going back to Jaws, Jaws is just one of those movies I also had that own on Blu-ray. I couldn't find anywhere when I was starting my collection. My collection has movies from the 70s, 80s, early 2000s, different eras, even current modern movies today. But, I still go to Half Price Books to hunt down old movies. Like I have Rambo and Rambo 2 over at my farmhouse. You get my point. Where I'm getting at is if Jaws is from the 70s and from the 70s or 1975, you have iconic movies in that era from any time from the 70s to the 80s to the 90s. I have some of those films. And if I was going to start a comic book collection, I mean, not comic book collection, if I was going to start a movie collection, my bad, I just mentioned comic books, but you get my point. If I was going to start a movie collection, which I already have and it's already been built as a big pile of movies of Empire, I have to have one of the iconic movies. If I have Back to the Future, if I have Back to the Future, Back to the Future, Back to the Future, Star Wars, Aliens, Grease, Big Lebowski, Karate Kid, uh, Mad Max, Seven, even including Halloween. And what's putting Scream in there? And Jurassic Park. And Jurassic Park. I have all the original Jurassic Parks. I have all those things. But as I was building those collections, you'll get what I'm saying. As I was building those movies and getting those things, well, the ones I just mentioned, like Aliens box set, Back to the Future box set, Grease, Big Lebowski, Karate Kid. I just recently picked up Karate Kid 2 at Half Price Books. All the Jurassic Parks and some Predators and Mad Max and all that stuff. And I have all of the then these other different movies and don't have Jaws. What's wrong with me, right? So one day I was at I don't know what store it was. I think it was Target or it could have been Best Buy, but I think it was more like Walmart. Walmart had this thing where they were doing um Blu-rays into old-fashioned shell cases and even had some that were just regular blue standard Blu-rays that had a VCR tape on the front of it. It looked like it was in a shell case. But this thing I'm about to show you is in my collection. I had to dig it out. But when I finally found it, I was like, I finally have one of my favorite movies of all time in my collection, amongst with Mad Max, Terminator, all the Terminator movies. I forgot to mention that, Jurassic Park, Aliens, Back to the Future, Big Lebowski, all those things, right? All those movies are iconic and stuff like that, including Time Boy and all those things that are old movies that, are critical to cinema history and cinema itself, right? And these iconic movies have built up other movies that you have seen in the theaters. As I mentioned in the beginning, this Turtles. The Turtles 35th anniversary was also made in the early 90s. So you have movies built from there. You have Thunderbolts and all that stuff. But basically, what I'm getting back to is all these other movies that we see that were all those other old movies I mentioned also built those other modern movies we see. So one day I was at Walmart, like I said, found Jaws. Just a unique, different version of a Blu-ray case. Now, like I said, did I say a showcase? A showcase, for people that don't know what that is where they used to put VCR tapes. VCR tapes used to come in this big container like kind of like your Blu-rays and DVDs where it's like a plastic container that you take the disc out and you pop it out. Well, this is a showcase. I'm about to show you. It's a showcase, but there's no VCR in there. But it fools you to thinking that there is a VCR. I was telling my certain friend I'm seeing this movie with about this special Blu-ray case that looks like a shell case over the phone one time. So this is what it is. It is Jaws, literally the very first movie Jaws, as you can see here, the first movie Jaws. Um, Back of it says Movies Anywhere because it's now also on digital. Movies Anywhere, but yes, you can see that this is the original poster of this movie, obviously, right? Obviously. And you can see back there, you can see the iconic beach scene. I know it's very hard to see, but it's the iconic beach scene. And then there's the big giant boat, and then there's the fisherman, and then there's the three guys right down here that take out Jaws, but it's designed to look like what you would see and what you would see from a VCR. Now, you would think, okay, this says Blu-ray on it. It fools you. It even has like, that iconic stem that looks like a book and all that stuff like that. And it has an iconic poster and it says Blu-ray on there. But like, oh my God, this is fooling me. Like why does this look so different from the other Blu-rays where hold on for a second. Why does this look so different from what this normally looks like? This looks like this, but this looks like this. This looks completely different, right? So you have a standard Blu-ray versus this. And you think, okay, there has to be some other weird reason why this is like this. There has to be some special, VCR look. It has to be some type of special Blu-ray, VCR, in here, VCR tape, and all that stuff. No, not really. You open it up, it's just there used to be a digital code right here, but it's just a disc. It's just a normal, regular Blu-ray disc of Jaws, and you pop it out. Well, you can pop it out, but you take it out like this. You take it out like this. You kind of have to bend it a little bit, but you take it out like this. You take out the movie like this. You put it on your finger. I'm gonna put it on my finger for now because I don't want to ruin it. Because I mean, I may watch this some of the time besides watching on the big screen, but this is what it looks like. It's just a regular disc. It's a disc holder inside of a VCR tape, a VCR clam case. So as I put this back in here, in the back of its home, I thought that was very impressive. That was very impressive. And then you put this back how it looks, and it looks just like what you would normally see it. Now, what's very, 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 very impressive is how they made it look like it's worn out. Like on the edges here, you barely see it. I know there's a light here, but they make it worn. I look like it's worn out and it's been on the shelf for years. But a regular VCR tape would not say digital code on top of it. It also wouldn't say Blu-ray, it would say VCR, or it wouldn't even have this on here, it'd just be simple VCR. But this is a cool idea for Jaws. It's a cool way to celebrate Jaws as well. I mean, it's not really a special edition or anything like that. It's just a this would have been a standard Blu-ray case if they didn't turn it into a VCR case that is bulky and that. Now, why I say this one's special to me? Why I say this one's special to me because this is a different type of case. All my other cases are all my other cases are standard Blu-ray cases. This is a completely fun, nostalgic way of looking at a movie and also nostalgic meaning like I grew up in the era of having VCR tapes and then DVDs and then Blu-rays. So this is nostalgic for me and this is fun right here. It fools people and like I said, you think, oh, there might be a VCR tape in here. Blu-ray is doing some special VCR tape and you had to have some special VCR somewhere laying around. No, it's just a regular standard regular standard DVD inside of a cool case. Why also this movie is so important to me because my dad showed it to me, and my dad showed it to me first, and it was on TV all the time, and me and my brother watched it on TV all the time. And when this movie was on, we watched it. Now, we probably watched bits and pieces of the other movies in the franchise, but we watched it. We sat down and watched it. We had fun. We sat down and watched the whole thing, had fun, and watched it. And like I said, you need a, and the funnest line is you need a bigger boat. We might need a bigger boat. And Jaws has just been shown so many times to so many different people. And there's some people out there that don't know about it, and there's probably people going to be out there going to see this 30th anniversary. I mean, it's going to see this 50th anniversary and be like, "This is my first time seeing this movie." I wouldn't be surprised when parents, new parents that are that were once teenagers now turning into adults and now starting families are going to this movie theater to see the 50th anniversary and say, "Hey, my dad or my mom or your your dad, your either your dad, your mom, or your aunt or your grandma, or grandpa, or whoever it is, showed me this, and now I'm showing you this because this is what I grew up on." That's the whole specialty of this movie. And also the specialty of this movie is also people were afraid to go in the water, a whole bunch of different things around this. It's just even Steven Spielberg in its time at his peak in his time where he made movies like E.T., Jaws, um, Back to the Future, he was part of that. He had a whole bunch of different movies that he was working on, and Jaws, Back to the Future, E.T. was one of those things. Um, I think Beetlejuice is Tim Burton. Well, yeah, Beetlejuice is Tim Burton, my bad. But, and Steven Spielberg was all over the place with different movies. There's so many different movies he made. Um, I can list them off here while I do it. Steven Spielberg. So, Indiana Jones, I forgot. Yeah, he did Indiana Jones. He also did Minority Report, uh, World of the World, War of the Worlds. He did Jurassic. Yeah, he did Jurassic Park. The Jurassic Park series. Again, Indiana Jones. The Color Purple. E.T., Jaws, Counters of the Third Kind, which I still kind of need to watch. Um, Savage, a whole bunch of different movies. Hook, apparently he was in Hook. Saving Private Ryan, Catch Me If You Can, The Terminal, Tintin, War Horse, Lincoln, Big, West Side Story, The Fablemans, which is also a really cool one in 2022, and Ready Player One. Ready Player One actually and also the Post. Also Blade Player One, they had a lot of like stuff in there, but I and his Jurassic Park reference. I don't think he did Back to the Future, but you well listed here, but I think he did do it, but but that's just me saying I think he did. It doesn't mean he did it. But him doing this movie, Jaws, and all those other movies I listed off, it also makes importance that Steven Spielberg is one of the greatest minds of our time. He also did Transformers too. One of the greatest one of the greatest people out there making films, still making films, and at the time in his prime making movies like Jaws, uh, Indiana Jones, Jurassic Park, E.T., and he's one of the greatest directors of all time. working with people like Ron Howard and a whole bunch of different people as well as also being a producer credit for certain things. He's one of the greatest directors and one of the greatest people, has a visual mind, has a great imagination, and you can never go wrong with Steven Spielberg movie, and you can never go wrong with Jaws or Jurassic Park or any of that. Steven Spielberg made a path for all these other directors. Like earlier today, I was talking to that one certain another certain friend of mine about the Russo brothers or Kevin Feige or Scorsese or Quentin Tarantino, stuff like that. They were probably inspired by Steven Spielberg or inspired by someone else, but they, even if they or not, even if they were or not inspired by Steven Spielberg, those directors wouldn't be those great directors without Steven Spielberg as well. And all directors wouldn't be directors without some type of experience, some type of um, hero to look up to or inspired by, or challenged by another director or looked upon by another director or just admiring another director's work. And Steven Spielberg is admired by all these different people like me that love movies, inspired by other filmmakers, directors, producers, all that stuff. And his stuff are all over different forms of cartoons and media and stuff like that. So Jaws is awesome. I can't wait to see the 50th. This video is just basically saying I can't wait to see the 50th and going to see the 50th anniversary of Jaws tomorrow. So I can't wait to sit in theater to watch this on the big screen for the very first time because again, I saw on TV and only on Blu-ray, and this is my Blu-ray and I'm glad I have it. So if you like this video, put a like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and put a big chunk of Jaws into this video if you like it. So, and deuces.